Hello everyone and welcome back to Raquel Teaches Code. My name is Raquel and in today's lesson I'm going to show you part 2 of how to insert links into a web page using HTML. So this builds on the previous lesson, part 1, so if you haven't watched it, I'm going to include a link to that lesson in the description for this video so you can watch that first before you watch this, okay? Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so again, we're continuing to work with the HTML file that we've created in the previous tutorials. And right here, we're just looking at what we've created so far. The 2 plain text links that we have above the images. And so what I'm going to be showing you today is 2 additional, what's considered more advanced ways of using links on a web page, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn this image into a link so that when the image is clicked, it'll take someone to a recipe for spaghetti carbonara. And then the other way I'm going to show you is a way to be able to send a message to someone. So let's do the first part where we're going to turn this image right here into a clickable link that leads us to a recipe. So the first thing I did was I went and found a recipe online. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the URL for this recipe here. And this is important, as we learned in the previous tutorial, for the basics of how to insert links. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the code editor, okay? And we're going to turn the spaghetti carbonara image into a clickable link. So the way that you do that is that you can simply wrap the image tag, the entirety of the image tag, inside of the A element, which is used to create a link. And then that will make the image will in essence become the link text that we created before. So instead of using link text, you use an image in the place of the link text, and then the image becomes clickable as a link. So let's go ahead and do that. So what we want to do first is click in front of the image that we want to turn to a link. And we're going to start with the first part, the opening part of the image element, the link element, which is the A, right? And so we're going to insert an A. We're going to do the href part. Equals quote and closing bracket for the first part. And since it inserted the closing part of the link tag here, we're just going to cut and paste that at the end of the image tag, right? So now, while we still need to insert the URL for where the link will be directing the user, we have now wrapped the image tag. All of this is the image tag. We've wrapped it in a link tag. And that's just done simply by putting the first part in front of the image, the opening part of the link tag in front of the image, and then the closing part of the link tag at the end of the image. Okay? And so what we need to do still is that we need to insert the URL or the location of where the user will be directed when they click on this image. So since I copied that URL from that recipe website, I'm just going to go ahead and paste it here. Ooh, I did not copy it. So let me go back and copy that. Oh, because it's pasting the last thing I copied. That's my bad. So I'm going to copy that URL and then paste it this time. Okay, now it's the most recent thing I copied. So now we see that for the href attribute, I've inserted the URL for the recipe that this image right here is going to link to. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit Control S to save these changes, and we're going to refresh this page here. And what should happen now is we don't see any physical change, right? Because we haven't made any other changes to the image. But now we see that when our mouse pointer is hovered over the image, it changes to a hand that lets us know that this is a clickable link. And we can also see at the bottom left of the screen that it indicates the URL that we'll be directed to when we click on this image. So let's click the image and see what happens. All right, wonderfulness, right? Now we see that it took us to the recipe for spaghetti carbonara. Okay, and if we hit the back button, it just directs us back to the page where we clicked the original clickable image. Okay, so that is how you convert an image into a clickable link. So now the second part of this is I want to teach you how you can create a link that'll let you send an email to someone. All right, and so we're going to do that with using text. So I'm going to go back to the code editor here, right? And we're just going to insert one more link after the eBay link. So we're going to go ahead and put in the break element and start typing the link element here with the href right? And so in this instance, when you want to provide a link that allows someone to send an email to someone else, what you're going to do is instead of typing a URL here, you're going to type the following. You're going to type the word mail to, right, with a colon. And then after the colon, you can enter the email address of the person it's going to go to. So let's say, for example, the person's email address is janedoe@gmail.com. All right. And we're going to put some text in here saying, some link text saying send an email to Jane Doe. Okay? And so when we save that, what we should see when we refresh the page is a link text that says send an email to Jane Doe. So let's refresh our browser and see what that looks like. All right, we do. We see a text link that says send an email to Jane Doe. And now what this does is it will open up any email program that the user has on their computer. And what it should do is create a new blank message with Jane Doe's email address already in the to field. I happen to have email software installed on my computer, right? So let's see if it works for me. Let's click on this. And it opened up off page. So let me just show you what it did. You see that? So what it does here is that it creates a message that's blank and the to field is already filled in with the email address that we indicated here. Okay, so those are some advanced ways to use the link element on a web page. You can, in addition to directing users to another web page or another location, you can also make an image clickable to redirect users to another place, or you can create an email link that allows users to send an email message to someone, provided that they have email software installed on their computer. Okay? So that's it for part 2 of how to insert links on a web page using HTML. I hope that you found this useful. If so, please go ahead and click like for this video and subscribe to the channel as well. And if you know of anyone that would find this useful, please go ahead and share this link with them or post it on your social media and encourage them to subscribe as well. Thank you for watching. Have a great day and God bless.